I'm Daniza Lopez, bringing today's burning issues and the hottest news here on Newsforce.
Here are today's headlines. PBBM vows to prioritize local employment agenda on his second SONA. Fisheries Code to be prioritized by Philippine government to protect fisherfolks and aquatic resources. PBBM vows initiatives for learning recovery under Vice President Sara will remain a priority. Philippines continues to coordinate with international partners for OFW welfare. Marcos administration eyes to fully embrace digitalization. Philippines bags gold at men's long jump Grand Prix. Fair and balanced news, comprehensive reports that will take you to the heart of the action. This is Newsforce.
As President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. delivered his State of the Nation Address or SONA yesterday, the President emphasized comprehensive plans to address healthcare challenges in the country. Here's a full report. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. stated in his second State of the Nation address the expansion of medical and nursing programs to alleviate the shortage of healthcare professionals, as well as initiatives to improve the overall public health.
We are now refocusing our health priorities, applying the lessons learned from the pandemic and addressing the weaknesses that it has exposed. Healthier communities and lifestyles are our advocacy.
One of the main pillars of the plan is to equip individuals with necessary skills and knowledge to meet the increasing demand for medical services through education and training. To combat severe malnutrition and poverty, the President launched convergent programs to provide the nutrition needs of poor families through the introduction of a pilot food stamp program.
The FSP shall complement our nutrition continuity programs, such as the First 1,000 Days program, which ensures nourishment for the first 3 years of a child's life.
Additionally, a supplemental feeding program has been implemented for children in daycare centers, while the K-6 program is set to benefit kindergarten to grade 6 public school students. Regarding vaccination efforts, routine vaccinations against measles, rubella, and polio have been expanded, with 80% of children eligible for the immunizations this year.
Nananawagan ako sa lahat ng mga magulang na kumplituhin ang mga bakuna ng kanilang mga anak at magtungo sa pinakamalapit na health center para sa mga libreng bakuna.
The President also addressed the rising cases of tuberculosis and HIV through strategic planning of early diagnosis and treatment, ample testing sites and medications for those affected. The government also made investments in public health facilities with over 3,400 projects completed in 2022 and opened 60 specialty centers to the public.
Just last week, we inspected the site of what will soon be a 5-hectare multi-specialty center in Pampanga, which will specialize in pediatrics, cardiology, kidney, and cancer treatment.
Moreover, the President assured the public of the efficiency and direct services provided by PhilHealth through Consulta package providing free medical services. Marcos Jr. noted the prices of medications decreased by approximately 40%.
Aside from the maximum retail price regulation being implemented, strategic VAT exemptions also lowered the prices of 59 essential medications such as those for cancer, diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, and mental illness.
Furthermore, the President announced that dialysis treatment is now free for majority of the Filipinos to ease their financial burden. Marcos Jr. also acknowledged the medical assistance for indigent patients program of the Department of Health, which has provided assistance to over 3.4 million Filipinos in the past year. Lastly, President Marcos Jr. mentioned COVID-19 health emergency allowance and other benefits are provided to healthcare workers in recognition of their sacrifices and efforts in serving the nation in height of the pandemic. For Golden Nation Network, this is Daniza Lopez. To further boost the country's economic development, President Marcos Jr. vowed to enhance the local employment and skills development training among Filipinos. Jade Buhoy for the full details.
During his second State of the Nation address on July 24, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. discussed his plans on activating social safety nets to further boost employment that drives economic progress to the Philippines.
As of May this year, our employment rate rose to 95.7%, clear proof of the improvement from the severe unemployment that we experienced during the height of the pandemic. Employment then was at a low of 82.4%. But even with our current high level of employment, we must do more. We will generate additional jobs for the remaining 4.3% of our workforce, as well as for the 11.7% underemployed Filipinos seeking better employment.
With this, he vowed to strengthen the partnership with the government, academe, and business sector while working on enhancing the skills of workforce through training programs. As part of this, he expresses hope on Filipinos having a choice towards working abroad and not because of necessity. The president has vowed to exert effort in establishing training, upskilling, and reskilling programs to be accessible for all Filipinos that will help in keeping the society away from the influences of danger and criminality. For Golden Nation Network, this is Jade Buhoy.
On June 24, 2023, President Bongbong Marcos bears his legislative agenda at his State of the Nation address.
In what many consider as his next legislative priorities, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. lay bare his legislative wish list as he enters his second year in office. But the real story here is what was not mentioned. For the barangay officials and employees who were promised time and again of the passage of the Magna Carta for Barangays Act, all hopes were dashed with the sudden pronouncement. Most administration officials, elected national officials, and even local government officials promised the Magna Carta long before some of the new legislative lists came into force. Butch Serrano, GNN News analyst and host of Sa Barangay Tayo, was dismayed upon hearing the so-called legislative wish list without mention of the Magna Carta for Barangays Act. Serrano said the Magna Carta for Barangays Act was promised in every national election since Marcos' election in 2022. And noted that the bill was filed and promised passage for the last 18 years. The priority seems to be additional taxes to the public, with pending bills such as excise tax on plastics, tax on digital services, motor vehicles user tax, road user tax were at the top of the wish list the president stated in both houses of Congress. For Golden Nation Network, this is Jade Buhoy.
Current administration boosts creating renewable energy contracts in the country, President Marcos Jr. announced that Malampaya project has covered the energy sector in areas of Luzon. Due to the rising development in renewable energy, the president vowed to push for more gas exploration in other areas in the Philippines. Despite the development, he reiterated that there were delayed connections based on the calculations of Energy Regulations Commissions. Oil companies recently announced adjustments in prices for their gasoline products. During his SONA, President Marcos Jr. declared that the price of crude oil has steadied as a result of good market conditions. Prices for gasoline and diesel have decreased by 80 to 29% respectively since last year. As part of PBBM's commitment on boosting the aquaculture in the Philippines, the president stated that the Fisheries Code must be revised to help improve the quality of life of farmers and fishermen. As part of this, Marcos Jr. stated that boosting the use of science-based analysis in evaluating fishing areas must be done. President Marcos Jr. further stated that this method will protect the fisherfolks and the fisheries' aquatic resources. From this, the President is urging the Congress to support the reforms on the act to foster sustainable progress in the fisheries sector. For weather updates, Typhoon Egay's center of the eye was located at 320 kilometers east-northeast of Casiguran, Aurora, or 350 kilometers east-southeast of Tuguegarao City, Cagayan, and moving westward-northwestward at 15 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 3 is raised over areas of Babuyan Islands, northern and eastern parts of mainland Cagayan, and northern parts of Apayao. Meantime, signal number 2 is heightened in Luzon areas such as Batanes, the rest of mainland Cagayan, the rest of Isabela, Quirino, northern parts of Nueva Vizcaya, the rest of Apayao, Kalinga, Abra, Mountain Province, Ifugao, northern parts of Benguet, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, and the northern and central parts of Aurora. Moreover, signal number 1 is lifted at the following parts of Luzon, such as La Union, Pangasinan, the rest of Benguet, the rest of Nueva Vizcaya, and the rest of Aurora, Zambales, Bataan, Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, Pampanga, Bulacan, Metro Manila, Rizal, Laguna, Cavite, Batangas, Quezon, Marinduque, Camarines Sur, Camarines Norte, Catanduanes, Albay, Sorsogon, the northern parts of Masbate. In Visayas, the same signal number was also raised, specifically northern Samar, northern parts of Samar, and northern parts of eastern Samar. Coming up next on Newsforce. PBBM promotes strategic financing through Maharlika Investment Fund. Shortage of classrooms and facilities addressed in SONA. PBBM vows initiatives for learning recovery under VP Sara will remain a priority. Stay tuned for more stories and reports. As President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. seeks to boost the nation's economic development, the President mentioned the Maharlika Investment Fund on his SONA to make profitable investments without additional debt burdens. The gains and profits generated from the investments will be reinvested back into the country, creating a cycle of sustainable development and prosperity. The President added that transparency and accountability will serve as guiding principles to guarantee that decisions are based on financial considerations.
To ensure sound financial management, a group of internationally recognized economic managers shall oversee the operations of the fund, guided by the principles of transparency and accountability.
Meantime, President Marcos Jr. reaffirmed that learning recovery of Filipino learners from delays brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic will continue to be a priority under his government, and he is confident that every Filipino children would receive a quality education under the direction of Vice President and Secretary of Education Sara Duterte. According to him, the matatag agenda for basic education would keep an eye on curricular relevance, prompt and effective delivery, and the welfare of both students and instructors. Marcos Jr. said that the administration is augmenting school workforce, noting that 90% of the newly created teaching positions have been filled, while additional administrative personnel have been hired to unburden the teachers of any extra load. Additionally, Marcos stated that DepEd will continue to assure uninterrupted learning with the addition of new social safety nets, such as school-based nutrition programs, by implementing alternate delivery methods and integrated learning techniques.
Taking to heart the lessons of the pandemic, alternative delivery modes and blended learning methodologies have been adopted to ensure unhampered learning. Additional social safety nets, such as school-based feeding programs, are also being implemented.
Furthermore, VP and Secretary of Education Sara mentioned in her Basic Education Report 2023 that lack of infrastructure and resources remains one of the biggest challenges the basic education sector faces. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. reaffirmed that efforts are being made to remedy the lack of facilities and classrooms. Additionally, the President stated that as part of their corporate social responsibility projects, private sector partners will remain supporting the renovation and upgrading of schools through the DepEd Partnership Assistance Portal.
The shortage of classrooms and facilities is being addressed. Aside from new construction, schools and facilities are being retrofitted to become ready for the future, ready for hybrid and high-tech learning, and also climate-ready and disaster-proof.
Amid a notable surge in the deployment of OFW, President Bongbong Marcos highlighted in his second SONA of the Philippines' active collaboration with international partners for the welfare of OFWs. Here's a full report. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. highlighted in his second State of the Nation address the active collaboration of the Philippines and international partners to ensure the safety and well-being of citizens working abroad. According to President Marcos Jr., there has been a surge in the deployment of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs.
In 2022, the number has increased by 62%. OFWs continue to send in historically high remittances, solidifying their role in our transformative economic growth. In 2022, our OFWs contributed $32.5 billion, or roughly 1.8 trillion pesos to our economy.
In strengthening labor cooperation, several countries have expressed interest in collaborating with the Philippines in various sectors. Moreover, President Marcos Jr. addressed the deployment issue in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where 70,000 OFWs have already been deployed for employment opportunities. The President expressed commitment in assisting OFWs affected by the pandemic in Saudi Arabia.
The Crown Prince of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia himself personally committed to me that the unpaid claims of Filipino workers would now be paid.
The employment of around 50,000 workers and the deployment of Filipino seafarers on European Union vessels have been guaranteed to provide stability and opportunities for skilled Filipino workers. For Golden Nation Network, this is Daniza Lopez. In line with country's goal of eliminating the proliferation of illegal drugs, President Marcos Jr. vowed to support the Department of Interior and local government's BIDA program. The BIDA program has established 102 Nalay Silangan Reformation Centers nationwide. With this, the President promised to eliminate activities-related drug syndicates, illegal activities, and uncover the illegal group's network of operation to end drug dependence among Filipinos. Marcos Jr. also stated that their administration will not tolerate corruption and incompetence in his leadership.
We will relentlessly continue our fight against drug syndicates, shutting down their illegal activities. We cannot tolerate corruption or incompetence in government.
Five years ago, the Marawi siege took place and devastated most parts of the city. As part of the second SONA, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. vowed to restore the city and boost development of Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Jade Boy for the full story.
Despite the issue of Philippines being second most affected country by terrorism in Asia, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. declared to develop the Islamic city of Marawi, which was once devastated by the siege that happened on 2017.
Kasalukuyan na tayo nagpoproseso ng tulong pinansyal para sa mga biktima ng Marawi siege upang sila ay makapagsimula muli.
The president noted that there were several infrastructure that has been established and the government is currently working on funds to provide assistance among the displaced victims of Marawi siege. Further, Marcos Jr. lauded the development of Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao or BARM through cooperation of local government, Moro independence movements, and Muslim royal families that were consulted to support the progress of their community.
We are proud of the progress that the BARM has taken. It will be self-governing.
President Marcos Jr. later vowed to boost sustainable progress and peace in southern part of the country, particularly on the BARM. For Golden Nation Network, this is Jade Buhoy.
Up next on Newsforce. PBBM to establish Department of Water Resource Management. Marcos administration eyes to fully embrace digitalization. PBBM empowers Bagong Pilipinas towards country's progress. Stay tuned for more stories and reports when Newsforce returns. In an effort to enhance public services, make conducting business easier and combat graft and corruption, the Marcos administration seeks to fully embrace digitalization and online payment methods. President Bongbong Marcos noted during his SONA that digitalization supports in frontline services, back-end operations, and additionally helps the government with data-driven and science-based planning and decision-making. He claimed that initiatives to digitalize and streamline government processes have so far significantly boosted efficiency in areas including tax collection, company and business registration, license and permit issuance, loan applications, and government payments. To protect the country's most valuable source, President Marcos Jr. stated in his SONA the establishment of Department of Water Resource Management. The Water Resources Management Office has been tasked with the responsibility of managing and preserving water resources across the country. In order to solve water scarcity and improve access to clean water, the government allocated a budget of 14.6 billion pesos for water supply projects.
Recently, the water supply of NCR and Rizal received a significant boost from the first phase of the Wawa Bulk Water Supply Project. The water supply will increase as the project enters the second phase.
Overall, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. expressed confidence in the country's future, crediting the world-class quality workforce and the love demonstrated by every Filipino for the country. PBBM acknowledged the dedication and competence of the nation's workforce for instilling hope and optimism in him for the country's progress. With this, the President believed that the state of the nation is sound and improving, acknowledging the arrival of a Bagong Pilipinas.
In the past year, it has been a source of great hope and optimism to me to now know that there is an enormous pool of highly competent and dedicated workers serving in our government. Dumating na po ang Bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
On sports, the Philippine athletic ace Janry Ubas bags gold at the men's long jump tournament at the Motonet Grand Prix La Pendranta in Finland. Ubas holds the Philippine record of best jump of 7.86, dominating the other 10 contenders in the World Athletics Continental Tour bronze-rated event. It can be recalled that Ubas recently won the title in the 32nd Southeast Asian Games under long jump competition and is now currently at the 53rd stop of the world ranking. And here's a recap of today's headlines.
Here are today's headlines. PBBM vows to prioritize local employment agenda on his second SONA. Fisheries Code to be prioritized by Philippine government to protect fisherfolks and aquatic resources. PBBM vows initiatives for learning recovery under Vice President Sara will remain a priority. Philippines continues to coordinate with international partners for OFW welfare. Marcos administration eyes to fully embrace digitalization. Philippines bags gold at men's long jump Grand Prix. Fair and balanced news, comprehensive reports that will take you to the heart of the action. This is Newsforce.
And those were the top stories of the day. Stay updated on the day's biggest stories and get updates on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Golden Nation Network. I'm Daniza Lopez, and this is Newsforce.